Hi, everyone. This is the story written by my friend Mercy G, so let's start. A few years ago, I had just moved into a small one-bedroom apartment with my 3-year-old son, Davis, and my cat. This was an inner-city place, and all I could afford at the time. So there was no being picky. This was a inner-city basement apartment, so you could picture how dingy this place was. But it was up to me to make it feel like home. When you first walk in, you could see the appliances to the left. Straight ahead a window where you could see passing feet on the street, and to the right was the one bedroom, along with the bathroom right beside it. The cowling had pipes running through from one end of the living room ceiling that goes straight into the bedroom, and would hear it seeping water so often, it took only maybe an hour to move in and settle down, since me and my son didn't really have much stuff to our names, but we were determined to make it work. The first night I ordered us a pizza, and put on a DVD for us to watch while we ate. I was so caught up in the movie as Davis would eat and watch along with me, but sometimes I'd catch him and my cat looking up at the pipes. I thought maybe it was just the sound that caught their attention, but that wasn't the case. When it was time for bed, I took Davis to the bedroom and let him crawl around on the bed, as the cat jumped on top my dresser, the usual spot where she would sit. I sat against the wall texting different people, while my son sat in the center of the bed occasionally, looking up at the seeping pipe and go back to his toys. Eventually he fell asleep at my feet holding his toys, and I'd run his back with my foot at random, lightly pushing him to make sure he wouldn't roll on his face. 2 a.m. came around and I was feeling tired, yawning and stretching my arms and legs out. I positioned my son beside me properly, between me and the wall, and I cuddled up to his back, and fell asleep. I was dreaming of the apartment for a strange reason. I remember it being cold and hollow. It was unlike any dream I had ever felt before, 'cause it just felt way too real for any kind of regular dream, and that's when I was awakened to the sound of Davis screaming. A high-pitched scream like he had been scared so bad, which seemed like the case. I turned on the lamp and picked up him, trying my best to calm him down, but he wouldn't. He kept pointing at the pipe constantly, reassuring the hissing sound is nothing to be afraid of, but he wouldn't stop. Also, the shaking in him was the most terrible feeling I had ever felt from him. He was so scared that he wouldn't allow me to out him down. 3 a.m. came, and I was still holding him, walking back and forth, hearing his soft whimpers in my shoulder. I wondered what it was that spooked him so bad that he wouldn't let me go. He's been scared before, but never this bad before. As I walked back and forth while my cat watched, I see her rear up and her ears pulled back, like she was getting ready to attack. I petted her gently. "What's wrong, baby? Not you too." Suddenly I hear the pipe starting to seep, and I looked up into the direction where my cat was, and that's when I heard a loud creaking sound coming from the wall and pipe up in the ceiling. I held Davis tightly, watching the pipe shake as a banging sound from the bedroom side of the wall start to thud. I watched carefully and slowly approached the wall, and it was strangely cold. I could feel the vibration, heavy and loud, and kept telling myself, okay, that pipe isn't that big to be making the wall shake. It's probably just another pipe in the wall. After a half hour of hearing and watching the wall, it finally stopped. My arms were tired and eyes heavy from walking back and forth for so long. I sat down and slowly laid Davis down back on the bed, without him trying to complain or get clingy. It didn't take long for me to fall asleep, either, after all that strange noise happening right above us. For a few minutes I stared up at the pipe and there was still a cold chill coming down from it. I covered up me and my kid as good as I could and fell asleep. The next morning, I woke still feeling chilly, and noticed Davis wasn't beside me. I could hear the TV playing the movie we previously watched, and rolled over checking my phone. Then suddenly the cold chill I had felt was gone. As I rolled over, I rolled back and could feel the cold again, thinking maybe it's a cold spot from the pipe. The rest of the day was okay. I still had a little unpacking to do, so that's what I did. Went for a walk to the park and to pick up groceries, and back home later in the afternoon, after visiting a few friends. Later on that night, me and Davis ate our first home-cooked meal, and put on one movie after another till he eventually fell asleep in my arms. I left him on the couch till I was feeling tired. Just before 3 a.m. again, I took him to the bedroom, and just when I was about to lay him down, he wakes up with a jolt throughout his entire body. His eyes shot open quickly, and started kicking and screaming in my arms. I tried to calm him down, but he kept squirming and crying in my arms. I out him down on the floor, gently, and I looked at him face to face. "What's wrong, Davis? Hey, what's wrong?" He wiped his teary eyes and pointed at the pipe. I look up and seeing starting to shake, and start to make that loud thumping noise, shaking the entire wall. I take Davis in my arms, and see my cat on the dresser starting to hiss with her ears back. Jumped off and ran towards the living room. The pipe started to shake even harder than before, and the thumping sound got more intense. The room grew colder by the second, till I was able to see my own breath. I began to feel uneasy and scared in my heart. I take Davis and put my cat in the kennel, and we left. I knew something wasn't right about the apartment from then on. I went back to my parents' place that early morning and slept comfortable there for the next few nights. That apartment had something wrong with it, and I had a good guess what it was. Later on, when the weekend came, I went to the landlord, and told her what had happened in the apartment, and she sighed. She let me into her apartment and sat me down, to tell me the backstory of the apartment. A few years ago, we had a tenant commit suicide, from the pipe in the bedroom. She was a drug abuser and her boyfriend had left her. She couldn't be trusted alone and he knew that. We were good friends for a while, but one night there was a snowstorm. I hadn't seen her for a week or two, so it was up to me to check on her. I went into the apartment and smelled something horrible, and I kind of knew what it was. When I went into the bedroom, I seen feet hanging off the floor, and seen she had hung herself from the pipe. The window was open and the storm was heavy those few nights prior. The wind blew her body against the wall, making a banging sound. I had trouble renting out that room, because we had the same complaints about it, so I locked it up till a few months ago, and opened it again hoping the activity in there stopped. That's when I realized I had put my bed right under where she hung herself. The cold spot where I laid my head was where she must have been hanging. The banging sound was her body banging and shaking the wall. I was in complete shock. I moved back into my parents' house. Soon after that, I had to get my dad and his friend to get my stuff out of there, 'cause I couldn't bear to stare at that pipe that stuck out of the ceiling again. The whole thing was just too much for me. Next time I move into a new place, I'm going to make sure I ask about its history first, just to be sure I don't come into the same experience again. I hope you all liked the story. If you liked it, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you.